Oh, that one too quiet, too quickly. Well, hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Uncut History here on Readout Productions. And for the first time ever, we are, fingers crossed, streaming on both YouTube and Rumble. I forked out $25 to do that. I'm not, hopefully, don't come to regret it. Okay, let's stop till when Johnny comes marching home. How's everybody doing tonight? How everybody's doing tonight? And it's probably not going to be too long of a stream. When I say that, then I usually go on a rant. Probably not going to be too long of a stream. I got a bunch to get ready before I head off tomorrow. But before then, we will kick back and talk about some things going on in the history community, in the world. You probably see the thumbnail. We're going to get into some, I guess, what the internet has made spicy. So, without any further ado, let me just go over and add into the stream. What are we going to share? Add into the stream. There we go. Aha! Here we are. So, what we're going to be talking about tonight started with the whole drama over the Netflix's Cleopatra. Now, I'm going to be pretty upfront. I really don't have much interest in ancient history. I always make a joke that I really don't get into history. To me, it doesn't start till May 28th, 1754. And I do that in a joking manner. There is many facets to history, to world history. But I am predominantly focused on American history, United States history, the history of the country I live in. Please be interested in whatever history you are and share that with me. But, well, in the history community, uh, the African Queens series, which is I think she's executive producer or she's directing. I don't know the full things on that. Season 2 is going to focus on Cleopatra, famed queen of Egypt. Well, is that the actress that they have casted to portray Cleopatra, this docudrama, is of African. Now, on paper, it doesn't sound like a problem because Egypt is in Africa. It's the same continent. But, well, let me just play the trailer. Let me just play the trailer and hopefully not get copyright strike. For the record, I didn't test if this is going to play, so let me double check. Probably should make sure the audio is shared. Everything should be working, right? Well, we're gonna try anyways. Okay, so I'm gonna play it. Hopefully it sound. If we have audio, hopefully I don't get copyright strike. If we don't have audio, bummer. But then I don't have to worry about copyright strikes. Funny how those things work. All right, here we go. So yeah. So the big controversy is that they've casted an actress with a much darker complexity than Cleopatra is normally portrayed as. Uh, Now, something I've been thinking about when you get into having, I don't want to word this, when you get into portraying history on stage or on the big screen, or in this case on the small screen, where does the line draw where between, when you become completely historical and accurate, or to the point that you have to make some concessions because, hey, it's a performance at the end of the day. If this was a straight up cinematic movie, I would simply say, "Oh, okay, that's an interesting casting choice. Let's see what they do." The problem is this is being portrayed as a docudrama, that this is being promoted that it's going to tell the true story of Cleopatra. While again, I've said I don't have much interest in ancient history, from the little I can gather, a lot of historians are saying that Cleopatra was likely not was she was not dark skinned. She was not black. She was not dark skinned. She was Macedonian. She was Greek. at least on her father's side. Now, there is some wiggle room. We don't know too much about her mother's background, so perhaps the Macedonian father married somebody from Central Southern Africa. But I have this feeling that probably not, mostly because usually if we're dealing with people of high status, they usually try to keep to a small niche group of people. I don't see this Macedonian father going over and marrying a random woman from Central Southern Africa, let alone somewhere in Egypt. So we'll proceed. And maybe, hopefully, they provide us some concrete evidence like, no, this is why we did our casting choice. This is the evidence. This is what we've excavated. It isn't just simply because we did so, because you can't question us. And if you question us, you're racist. It wouldn't be like, totally wouldn't be because of that, right? Hold on one moment. I want to double check. We have audio. Okay, so we do not have audio. I apologize about that. Let me see if I can before we continue, let's see if I can find a way to give us audio. Where am I? There's so many things open on my screen today. Why won't it give me audio? What are you doing, StreamYards? Why must you? Why does thou do me? Do I have to go over here? No, it's not it. Okay. Is there like a How did I do it last time? How do you do the thing? How do you make StreamYards use your audio? Ugh. This is what you really come to watch. Watch me fight StreamYards. Wonder if I remove. Stop sharing. Let's try that again. Let's try it again. I want to make sure you can hear the audio because what's about to come up, I want to be able you to hear what the people say in the stream. All right. Share. Share. Okay, maybe that's why. Nope, we don't want that one. We want that one. Share. All right, let's proceed.
What would you die for? I am Isis. I am a god.
As long as she's alive, she is the pharaoh.
My father's will names me co-ruler of Egypt.
Julius Caesar is aware that Cleopatra is one of the best educated women in the Mediterranean.
He wants to be king to Cleopatra's queen.
There is no future without the past.
She was using these relationships with Mark Antony to protect herself and her country.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember too much. The little I know about this time period, because I did know that Cleopatra is around the same time of Julius Caesar's fall and the Civil War, the results. I didn't really think she had many relations with Julius Caesar. I thought it was more Mark Antony. But hey, maybe this I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this series is actually going to bring something new that I do not know about. I am willing to learn. I am willing to learn.
There is no Rome without Egypt.
Cleopatra was trying to save the country that she loved from destruction.
I did what I had to do to protect what is mine.
This is a woman exercising power.
Cleopatra was a Ptolemaic ruler. The very first Ptolemy is a general of Alexander the Great.
It's
AKA, she's Greek.
possible that she was an Egyptian.
I imagine her to have curly hair like me and a similar skin color.
I remember.
Okay, we're starting to get into that. Okay, this is where we get to the really irksome comments. A gentleman there just saying, well, I just figured that she would look like me because of this. Well, no, that's not how history works. They're not just going to look similar, especially if somebody's thousands of years apart from you. They're not just going to look similar to you. That's not how that works.
My grandmother saying to me, I don't care what they tell you in school, Cleopatra was black.
There it is. There's the comment that I wanted to talk about. I don't care what they tell you in school, Cleopatra is black. Now, again, I can go both ways on this. For one, I'm always very leery of the educational system, so I can relate to this woman on that grounds. But you sh- but just because your grandmother is saying don't believe what anybody tells you, she's black. You gotta have some evidence. You gotta have some. Well, she's black. That's final. That's it. Okay, we're dealing with somebody who we know has at least some has some ties to the Macedonian people. Gotta give me a little more to support. But no, she's just that. Let's finish the trailer before I get angrified anymore.
She has become an icon.
I am a god, queen of kings.
Her story resonates with every woman.
So there's the trailer. May 10th. It's coming to Netflix. So there you go. You know, maybe 10 years ago, I'd be in a different position and I'd be like, seems like we have a lot of new information I'm interested to learn. But after the trend we've had of Hollywood swapping out the race and the genders and the sexualities of just about every character they can, originally fictional and in some instances also non-fictional, I'm getting very, very graded. I have very low expectations that this casting choice was done nothing more than to cause rise out of me, like myself. And whenever I question why they're doing it, then I get labeled a racist. I really, really, at this time, this trailer does not convince me that I guess, season of a show is actually trying to do something, bring new information to Cleopatra to the forefront. Right now, it just seems like it's yet another instance of Hollywood believing, well, if we change the gender or the race or the sexuality, that'll automatically make it better, it'll make it new. No, no, that's not how that works, Hollywood. You see, for one, don't don't mess with don't mess with nonfiction. Don't mess with historical fact. It never ends well. Do you want to end up like the Patriot? Because you don't want to end up like the Patriot. The other thing is, the other deal is, I find it shallow that these studios, that these executives, people are out there thinking, well, if we just change the color of somebody's skin, it's new. People cannot pe- People do not decide what their ethnicity is at birth. That's not how that works. It's not a trait that comes to define an individual. That should not be a defining trait on if you're hired or you're fired, on if you're good or bad at this job. That's not how that works. And that's why at least myself, I'm getting pissy over this. I'm getting pissy over this. Fussier words like that. And this is not the first time that Hollywood is race swapped in a similar situation. You just have to look back at, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago? Was it the BBC or was it AMC? I think they were collaborating. Somebody did that, where they had an Anne Boleyn show, and they casted the actress that played Boleyn was was dark skinned, very dark skinned, looked completely opposite that the historical figure does. Now, their defense for doing that casting choice came down that, well, it's just a television show. We can have fun with we can have artistic liberties. It's not meant to be all about historical fact. It's about entertainment. And in some credit, I do know that if you go back to days like in the Shakespearean plays, every actor was a guy. Even when there was a female role, they would have a guy playing it, and everybody kind of got along with the gag. That's how it was. It wasn't. I Shakespeare wrote. Shakespeare wrote. I mean, bringing it all back together, Shakespeare wrote Julius Caesar, which usually is the benchmark to how most modern audiences know this story of this time period that Cleopatra is a part of, the rise and fall of Julius Caesar and the Roman Civil War that ensued afterwards. So, I know there's probably a lot of inaccuracies in the play and the movies based upon Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. But my point being, that's usually the defense that people are being used at why they're doing all this race swapping in historical pictures. They will say it's their defense is, well, it's simply entertainment. That okay, but if you think that you can just mess around with this and go, oh, it's just entertainment, that makes me distrustfully worthy over how passionate you are about the project, how serious you are about making a good piece of of historical fiction, or just trying to make a good product. I don't have confidence if you feel if you could just change all this stuff around willy nilly. And this race swapping is nothing new on a recent level. You saw in the thumbnail I threw John Wayne as Genghis Khan. I don't think I need to say any more on that. I believe also, was it Donna Reed at one point? She ended up being casted as Sacagawea, and they painted her face dark so she would look like a Native American. Can please tell me we're not going back to those days? I don't want to go back to those days. Who else I can think? Neil Guinness. Neil Guinness. He was cast. He was cast for Lawrence of Arabia to play a Ottoman prince. Although I think some people said he actually had a pretty. I actually not personally seen Lawrence of Arabia. I know that's blasphemy for to be a historian. Not saw Lawrence of Arabia, but I have not yet. So nothing new. Hollywood's always done this. It just so happens that instead of we're having white actors playing black actors, or black historical figures, or Asian, or this and that, now we're doing it the other way around. Doing it one way is not okay. Doesn't mean the opposite it's okay either. The pendulum, you end up in the same situation. That's not okay. This not okay. Can we meet in the middle? Can we all be peaceful? Can we do that, please? Please. So, and another issue I take with this whole Cleopatra situation. Now, I've not watched African Queens. I haven't had a Netflix subscription in several years. Nothing's really interested me on Netflix. But I do know about the History Channel and doing similar docudramas lately. And this is what the format's been with these docudramas coming out. Very big cinematics, and then you'll have talking heads that'll cut in on and out. For the past 5 years, the History Channel has been coming out with a series of miniseries on the presidents. They did Washington, they did Grant, they did Lincoln, they did Teddy Roosevelt, and this Memorial Day they'll be coming out one for Franklin D. Roosevelt. I can't talk. I'm tongue twisted tonight. Hopefully my audio is sharing, right? My audio should be shared, right? I don't know. Anyways. Maybe you'd save me from the horror of me not talking. So they've been doing these docudramas lately, and it's half, very cinematic portrayal. I mean, actors interacting, actually having dialogue, and then you cut to the talking heads. Well, here's how they're making these, and I have a theory they're doing this in a similar vein to what the African Queen series is doing. They'll get these talking heads. These are typically historians or people that have an interest in the conversation. Like at one point they had Bill Clinton in the Washington miniseries. I don't know how he is an expert on George Washington. Does just automatically being a president makes you? I don't know. Anyways, they'll sit you down. Usually they're about 2 to 3 hour interviews. And they only use about 10 to 15% of that interview and splice it in all over the place. They don't tell who they're interviewing, what their voice is going to be put upon, what they're going to be talking in front of. And usually, oh boy, usually the visuals that they show are bad. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a trailer for the Washington show, because this is something I can really pick at. And the reason I'm bringing up the Washington one, you're probably saying, well, that has nothing to do with Cleopatra. I have a feeling that all these different docudramas, they all have the same amount of individuals about behind the scenes. And if they don't have direct individuals behind the scenes, they're copying each other. It's a copy and paste format, cheapest means of commerce. So let me get this pulled up. All right, where are we at? There we are. We can share the screen. So this is the trailer for the Washington miniseries from a couple years ago.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men are created equal. That they are endowed by their creator.
See them cinematics.
certain
We got the
inalienable
spotlight. It's like Steven Spielberg
Life.
filmed this.
Liberty. And the pursuit of happiness.
So there we go. President's Day weekend. So I watched this episode. This is a shot. Does anyone take a guess what this is portraying? This is supposed to be the wilderness of Western Pennsylvania. I don't see a tree in sight, folks. Do you? I see a little bushes back there in the distance. Wow, I don't even think today you have that much open field around here. You see where why I'm getting pissy.
When I look at Washington, I see a leader.
Come gather around, people.
Oh, very cinematic, slow-mo snow.
I see a man who gave himself to service.
Okay, do you know what this is supposed to be? This is the Jumonville Glen incident. And very quick recap for those not in the know, the Jumonville Glen incident was May 28th, 1754. Ah, that's why I brought that date up. This is the start of the unofficial start of the 7 Years' War. This is what's considered the ball rolling for the 7 Years' War globally. It would take a few years. Essentially, Washington, who was commissioned a Virginian officer, led these Virginians up into Pennsylvania to try to build a fort at the Free Rivers at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Found out the French had already built a fort there called Fort Duquesne. Washington got word from a native ally, the Tenagrisson, the half-king, that a French war party was coming down. So Washington finds this French war party, Washington Tenagrisson do, at a base of these giant sheer cliffs in the thick forest of Pennsylvania. I don't see cliffs in sight. In fact, I see prairie beyond those lights. There's no way that if this was the French were encamped on this tree line, that Washington, the Washington comes in backlit by the sun, that he would be, that he would be able to sneak up on them. This is the quality control we're talking about with these docudramas. We just have cannons firing in the middle. I didn't even see any. There shouldn't be explosions. Solid shot. Oh, I got all them sword fighting like it's Pirates of the Caribbean. There it is, this shot. Oh God. Brandon F, if you want to watch a channel from a gentleman who knows every micro detail about 18th century warfare, especially in North America, that's the guy to go to. Definitely check out his channel if you have interest in this. Anyways, he went on a tirade about the hats, and I'm going to do it briefly too. Look at the boat that's on this guy's head. Look at it. They're huge. My God, they're so... That would get blown off their head in the wind. No, that's not how the tricorns looked. Also, not to mention, I don't see a single commanding officer, no Gorget in sight. On that cheapo British flagpole, there's no rhyme or reason to this line of battle. Oh, I don't know if I can keep doing this. There's Bill, there's Dill Clinton. Oh, was Washington grabbing a musket? What's going on? I don't know. it's too painful for me. I can see now what some of those people watch. Some of them Egyptianologists watching or Egyptianologists, whatever. The people that like Cleopatra watching the Cleopatra show. I know how they feel.
Washington understood that if he failed, the country would fail.
God, did you see the bore of that gun? Oh, that was ugly. Colin Powell, I think that was there talking. Again, I don't know if that's who you want talking for this miniseries. Oh, the ugly flag. It just looks so cheap. And this was Braddock's defeat. Oh, we're getting very artsy. We're shooting it upside down. By the way, that's not the uniforms that the regiments that were at Braddock would have been wearing. These people don't know shit. Oh, and he had Jeff Daniels narrated too. A guy who portrayed Washington in a far more accurate portrayal. Washington's Crossing, A&E. It was a made-for-TV film in 2000. Daniels plays Washington. Pretty good, I might add. And it's not the greatest material culture, but for a Rev War film made on a TV budget, it's better than this. That was painful. So the whole point that I went into that tirade about was, like I said, the other issue I have with the whole Cleopatra situation. It's just like all these other docudramas they've been coming out with lately of individuals. These glamorous cinematic shots that have crap material culture, crap, not good authenticity at all, bad portrayal, and these poor talking heads had no idea they're going to be talking over this shite. It's irksome. It's irksome. You know what I'd rather have them to do? And I'm not saying this just because I'm like, no, they're both are bad. No, I mean this sincerely. I would like to watch the entire interviews of these talking heads and just stitch them together. I would watch that. And I guarantee you, we'd get leagues more entertainment because I'm sure they have their own quips and their own I'm sure all the talking heads have their own quips and interesting takeaways. I'm sure they're great people to chat with. And I mean that both about the people that are in the Cleopatra show and in the Washington miniseries. Just be fun to listen to them just talk unabridged. But also, it's just take it all out. Take this cinematic crap out. These people clearly can't put together a visual representation of historical past. And hail Wrangler, welcome to my rant. They have pinched a nerve. That or the Coors Banquet has pinched a nerve. One of the two. All right. All right. So yeah. That's my rant on modern day historical docudramas. Go find a Ken Burns documentary. It'll be way better. It'll be way better. And speaking of which, I'm very excited. They have I've been speaking about it all week because I'm so giddy about it. I will be going to Gettysburg for the weekend and planning to film a lot of content, both regular videos and maybe even do a live stream or two. We'll see how the internet connection is on the battlefield. But one of the reasons we're going to go see the new new museum. Let me pull it up. It's the new Adams County Historical Society Museum. So I found that apparently if you share a whole window and you have all your tabs laid out, the audio doesn't work. But if you share it by individual tab, the audio works. And I'm saying that to Wrangler and other people watching. Food for thought. I think that's the quirk. I think that's the trick when it comes to StreamYards, getting audio through. So I'm going to go over, because since I'm talking about it, might as well bring up Beyond the Battle Museum, Beyond the Battle, Beyond the Battle, Beyond the Battle Museum. How's everybody doing? I'm sure most that are watching on a replay going, what the heck is this guy ranting about? So how are you doing? Let me know in the chat, or in the comments below how you're doing. All right. All right, I keep saying all right. It's not everything gonna be all right this morning. Bow. Here we go. So this is what I'm really excited about, and when I mentioned Ken Burns, it just made me think about it. This is the Beyond the Battle Museum, aka this is the new structure for the Adams County Historical Society. Gettysburg is located in Adams County, Pennsylvania, and they've been working for many years to get their own proper museum. The County Historical Society, the county where one of the most famous battles in American history occurred, have yet to have a proper museum, but no longer do we have to wait. So what's so cool about this museum's not just about the Battle of Gettysburg. It's about how Gettysburg came to be created, how Adams County came to be created, and boy, is there a lot of history to Adams County. If you're familiar with the French and Indian War, the famed story of Mary Jemison, who was taken captive at the age of 15 and lived the rest of her life amongst the Seneca. She was from Adams County. Adams County has one of the larger apple festivals, Biglersville, Pennsylvania. And then after the war, they're going to have exhibits about Adams County today. President Eisenhower had his home in Gettysburg for many years, so they're going to have a lot of items relating to that. And I'm sure they'll have a lot of items about all the tourism industry, because boy, the tourism in Gettysburg has its own fascinating history onto itself. So, but one of the cooler things that they're doing, can I find it? Okay, do you see the plan your visit photo? This is what's called the Caught in the Crossfire exhibit. I am eager for this. It's essentially it's a 40 feeder that you're going to walk into, and it lets you relive what a civilian experienced during the Battle of Gettysburg. And they've already put disclaimers that it's not for the faint of heart. So this is going to be an excellent teaching tool on, really, I think, especially with school group younger audiences that really have a hard time connecting to the battle, and you just hear names and squares moving on maps. I'm partly to blame for that. That's my whole series construction paper. Battlefield is just squares on maps. But this is going to allow you to truly be immersed and realize the horrors that these people had to endure for 3 days in July. And for any battle in the Civil War, the civilians in the vicinity of these engagements. But they are also going to have an exhibit of Ken Burns about the making of Ken Burns' The Civil War. And that documentary is arguably the reason why the Civil War is so relevant in the American society today. That documentary, combination between that, the movie Glory, and the movie Gettysburg, and that string brought back to life interest in the history of this conflict. So they actually have, I think they have like original film reels, the original like board that Mr. Burns set the photo on, like because back then, if you ever made editing on iMovie, there's a literal Ken Burns mode, and it's because when he made the Civil War series, he would get these original photographs, lay them out, and slowly move the camera from point A to point B, given motion for a still image. Today, you can do that in 5 seconds on iMovie, but in 1990, it was revolutionary. So I'm so excited to see that exhibit as well. So I am very, very giggity. It's just gonna be standard videos. I don't plan a proper documentary. I have found when I go to places like Gettysburg, when I go to places of sheer major importance, I will write I got all sorts of notes in here for the journey ahead of me. I'll get there and my mouth goes numb because I'm in awe of what happened on these grounds. And I don't know how can I put it into words. So normally what ends up happening is I take a crap ton of photos and various videos from different angles. And then when I come back, I edit them together. I'm going to try hardest time though to try to talk on location more, because boy, when having to go back and do narration, that's a lot more editing that right now I do not have the time for. So hopefully I'll work up the courage and be able to talk through my shell shock a bit more. But yes, that's all coming down the pipeline. Now, I did say this is going to be a short stream, so we're going to start wrapping up. But before we're done, I'm making it certain that on every Uncut History going forward, I try to shout out some piece of culture, not necessarily history related, just some piece of new material to our culture, be it the internet culture, be it the culture of Pittsburgh, be it the culture of the United States or the culture of the world. Because I've made it pretty apparent that I think right now we have a sick culture, be it nationally or locally or internationally. I don't think it's doing so well. People aren't happy. People aren't making money ends meet right now. It is very frustrating, upsetting. But I don't believe we're in a doom spiral. At least I don't want to be in a doom spiral. I believe that we are on the verge of a cultural renaissance. So all sorts of new creators will be the floodgates have been unleashed by the internet, and that is known as the Iron Age of culture. So, for those that are looking for, hail, James Craig, I am glad you're here because guess what we're going to talk about very, very briefly. Remove that. The only issue is with sharing by per tab. I got to stop the screen, then go back in, pick the share screen, go to the tab. There we go. Because look what we're sharing, James. This week's shout out is to James Craig's science fiction and fantasy novel Offer. And in particular, I want to talk about 5 to 4, which I do own. I do have it, Mr. Craig. It's over there in the mess of shelves. You don't want to see it. There are books hanging by a thread. They're piled all over the place. It is a horrible sight for an offer to see. On my return, I'm going to get that cleaned up, and I'm actually going to get a new shelf right over here. Let my books breathe. But 5 to 4 is James Craig's most recent release. The work week has finally come to an end with no more mandatory overtime. 5 minutes before everyone leaves, however, 5 office workers find themselves in some kind of nightmare version of their office where all the rooms have been rearranged and there's no way out. With no cell phone service, no view of the city beyond the windows, and no idea what happened, they have to band together to find a way to escape. For all that, it would be enough for there was merely man-eating monsters coming for them, stalking through the desolate halls of their workspace. But they aren't even the only people stuck in this twisted realm between realities. Can they band together and escape? Or will doubt and suspension tear them apart before the monsters can do that job for them? 5 to 4 is a short book by Mr. Craig. It's only, I think, like it was 130, 140 pages. I was able to get through the first half of it in one day, and then life is lifing me right now. So again, that probably won't get touched until I come back from my trip. But I'm enjoying the first half, very quickly paced, some quirky characters, and a lot of mind fucks going on. That's also nice. Yes, I'm dropping f bombs now. The banquet's taken over. I had very particular interest in this book because a few weeks back, you probably some of you guys might notice I did a April Fool's video on the Mystery Flesh Pit National Park. I really enjoyed that video. And if people want me to do more like documentaries on these like legend type things, I'd be happy to do them because one of them I would like to do is the back rooms. And this reminds me of the back rooms, that existential dread of horror, never ending, this everyday tedious office space just going on forever and ever. You don't want to be stuck in your workplace forever and ever. That's a horrifying prospect. And it definitely seems that Mr. Craig took some inspiration from 5 to 4. But there's a few other Mr. Craig took inspiration for 5 to 4 from 5 to 4. Mr. Craig took inspiration from the back rooms to create 5 to 4. But I think there's a lot of other lot of cool details. You're starting to peel back the layers, especially when I notice I'm up to the part where there's more than one Ryan. That's all the more you get. I'm not going to spoil too much of it. So be sure to go buy 5 to 4. You should be able to get it on Amazon. That's how I got it. So if you're looking for a very quick, snappy read with existential dread, mundane horror, and absolute mind fucks, 5 to 4 is where it's at. Yeah, the death game genre. Indeed, indeed. All right. So, if anybody has anything you want me to talk about quickly, be sure to throw it in the chat right now. I'll give you a few seconds. Anything random you want me to say or just want to know my opinions on, I'm going to take you a swig of beer. Yes, so now that I'm in the upper echelon, I guess, of StreamYards, I'm gonna have real fun with this going forward. I've already been starting to reach out to a few people locally and locally, but also hopefully I'll start reaching out through the internet because my end goal is that I'll be able to have interviews on here. Not every weekend. I don't want to. Because I have a lot I want to do on Uncut History. Every week I feel talking about something a little different, but I want to start doing interviews with people in the history community, be it managers of museums, be it noted historians, be it individuals that you wouldn't normally think about being interested in history, people that take influences from history for another part of their life. I'm looking at you, Iron Age offers. Looking at you over there in the chat. Oh yeah, he's looking. He's looking. So definitely that'll be coming down the pipeline. Another thing I want to talk about the format for Uncut History. I'm going to try to do the preservation shout outs, try to do them every other week. Although next week, I also want to do a Chancellorsville video because it'll be the 160th anniversary of the Battle of Chancellorsville. I mean, we could probably do both. There's no reason we can't do both, right? And I should be able to have the time next Thursday. I might be able to do an extra long stream. So definitely with the preservation shout outs, I want to bring some co-hosts in. So those in the gilded, you know who you are. You might be getting some links next Thursday if you want to hop on and we'll talk about some places, some historical preservation projects and give them a shout out. So if you know of a preservation project in your area and you want it to be known, send it my way. I'll consider shouting it out. Should I get a Twitter? I, I really don't like Twitter. And it has nothing to do with the change with Elon Musk. I just never liked the concept of Twitter. But I've been seeing other people using Twitter to get I guess at least get ideas for projects. I don't know if I should do that as well, where I can just should I just make a post on the channel chat on YouTube and then you guys can post in. I don't know. If you know of a preservation project in your area or you're just fascinated by, email it to me or something similar. Find a way to notify it to me, and it could potentially be part of the preservation project shout out. And the preservation shout out will roughly be every other week on Uncut History. And I will be bringing other people in on those weeks to be co-hosts so we can chat around. And I am going to be also looking to start doing interviews. So yeah, that's me wrapping up. My brain, you could tell I was stressed. I was stressed today. I was stressed all week. And I'm actually still stressed because there's some things that need to be turned in before I go to bed tonight. So probably should stop procrastinating. So you know what it means. If you liked this stream, hit the like button down below, right over there. It's right there. Hit the like button, right there. Boom, there it is. Hit the thumbs up. Don't hit the thumbs down. Doesn't do much. Hit the thumbs up. And if you want to be the first notified when the next Uncut History comes out, subscribe to Readout Productions, where we live, explore, and preserve history one step at a time. Mine's a better option. I have a Minds account. I haven't looked at it since I got the new computer. Probably should look. And if you want to go the extra mile to support me, you can go to my Ko-fi page. I didn't put the link in the description this week. Again, been stressed. But you can go to the channel. You'll see a little coffee cup in the upper corner. Click on it. And if you want to provide a small donation to buy me a cup of coffee in the morning, I will greatly appreciate it. But with that out of the way, thank you all for watching. You know what this means. It is time to play the music. Play the music. All right, that's it for Uncut History. Thank you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. So this was actually the intro you're seeing here. I want to make a new intro for all my videos. I'm a little more flashier. This was accidental. I wanted to be 16 by 9. I realized that I had put in a 1 by 1. I didn't realize until I processed it. It looks nice. Still looks nice. Oh, yes, that's right. Don't forget to check out Heterochrome Media Podcast, where we matchmake the oddest double features. And the link is also in the description to that. Well, it's not in the description. You know, there's a search bar up there. And Heterochromedia. Heterochromedia. It's like heterochromia, the eye disorder. All right. I'm disappearing. I'm muting the mic. It's going away.